Welcome to the Desert Gridiron Gameplan, an epic coaches show talking all things Arizona high school football. And now, your hosts, James Poovey, Ed Cole, and Parker Garash. Take it away, gentlemen.
We welcome you in for another edition of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. James Poovey coming to you live here alongside my broadcast partner, Mr. Ed Cole. And Ed, we got to give a shout out to Miss Sarah Cazell doing our intro for us this season, and great friend of ours. We appreciate every bit of her support that she's given us over the past few years here on high school football on the Epic Sports Network.
Yeah, just love Sarah. She is such a great talent. Love to hear her voice. She's beyond superb, talented. We got to get together with her and but she is an absolute godsend when it comes to this business and what we do because of her voice work talent.
We are excited. We got some great games we're going to preview tonight. We're going to start with our matchup that we'll have live for you on the NFHS Network this Friday night. It's a 5A quarterfinal matchup as the Kellis Cougars head over and battle the Cactus Cobras. Ed, that's going to be fun. And then after that, we'll preview a 6A matchup happening in the far southeast valley as the Pinnacle Pioneers and the Queen Creek Bulldogs score off. We got a full show tonight.
Yeah, let's get it started. I cannot wait to get out to Cactus on Friday and broadcast that game. It's going to be a great one. Kellis 10-1 and Cactus coming in at 8-3. That should be a tight match.
Let's get it going. Head coach Ben Kellis and quarterback Ronald Cody joining us here on the program. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here this evening. We certainly appreciate it. We are beyond excited to broadcast your game on Friday night on the NFHS Network. Coach Kellis, we'll start with you. Tell us about the season. You have turned that program around out there along with your assistant coaches, and the Cougars are playing some serious football right now.
Yeah, thank you first up for having us. And yeah, it's been a special season for sure, but the work started with this group 4 years ago when they were freshmen. These guys have kind of grown up with me. Kellis is my first head coaching opportunity I got 3 years ago, I should say, back in 2021. And these guys came in with me during that time. So they're plenty sick of hearing my voice by the time they graduate because I've been there all 4 years with them. But it's made it extremely rewarding. And, we got one of these many seniors on here. We got a big senior class and can't say enough good things about those guys.
Yeah, congratulations, Coach. 10-1 in the season. You were 5-0 in the 5A Central Valley. Got a big time win over Ironwood Ridge last week. Started off strong. Led 42-7 at the half, so you got a great start. Reflect back on that game and getting off to that fast start and getting such a convincing victory in the opening round of the 5A playoffs.
Yeah, I was most impressed with our kids' ability to just show up after that long bus ride. I think that's what most head coaches worry about going all the way out to Tucson is, how are we going to show up on that bus ride? We hit traffic, of course, so it turned into like a 3-hour and 15-minute bus ride. Messed up our pregame routine a little bit. So our kids had every excuse to show up and kind of look a little sloppy and disjointed at the beginning, and they were anything but. Ronald's first pass of the game went for a touchdown, turned around and got a stop on defense. And I was just really impressed with the way our kids showed up, started that game, and then just kept their foot on the gas against a quality opponent. It's something that we're going to need going into this big one on Friday.
Coach, your quarterback, Ronald Cody, we're going to take a look at some of his film here in a moment, but putting up video game type numbers this season, 1,470 yards passing. Check this out, 25 touchdowns and no interceptions. Oh, by the way, he's also run the rock 72 times for 726 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. Talk about your senior quarterback and what he means to the Cougars.
Yeah, I think those stats, like you said, kind of speak for themselves. But the one stat I think people probably overlook is what his turnover margin was last year compared to this year. So as good as Ronald is, I mean, he's probably one of our most improved players as well. He went from good to great. And it's a testament to his work that he's put in this offseason and his quarterbacks coach, like you hit on at the very beginning. We haven't done this thing alone. It's been the players, and it's also been a bunch of assistant coaches that don't get any recognition one of them being our quarterbacks coach that's just absolutely poured into Ronald and all of our quarterback room. And the turnovers are down, like you said. I mean, that's pretty incredible. 25 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, and it's all just decision making. Ronald has all the talent in the world, and he's just making better decisions this year.
Ronald, congratulations on all those numbers that JP threw out there. And the game you had last week, the 5 touchdowns against Ironwood Ridge, 300 yards passing. What were some things that you worked on in the offseason between last season and this season that Coach talked about, the immediate improvement that you made, just leaps and bounds from where you were last year to this year? What were some things that you were trying to focus on coming into the season that you would try to get better at?
I'd say just, decision making and, not forcing the ball when we don't have to, using my legs, running when the hole's there, just not forcing the ball deep, taking what the defense gives me, and just being a team player, dishing the ball out, as you know, I run the ball a lot, so, I have enough rushing touchdowns. My goal this year was to, spread the love to all my receivers, and make my own line do good, man.
Speaking of your O-line, Ronald, talk about those guys, unsung heroes up front, allowing you to throw for all those touchdowns and also be the leading rusher for the Raymond S. Kellis Cougars. Talk about the importance of those big fellows up front and how they keep you clean on Friday nights.
Man, they're great. I love them all line, man. We like to crack jokes a lot, but they definitely put in the work all off season, spring, in the weight room. Like, most of them, they lift a lot, I can tell you that. So, like, just, getting the film with Coach Neal, our offensive line coach, and just putting in that work to get better every day and, not being satisfied.
Ronald, talk about your running backs, wide receivers, the talented guys that you have, these skill players that can throw the ball to and hand the football off to. And what do they, how integral are they to you for your success, knowing that you've got guys you can throw the football to and they can just bust it off and make things happen, or you can hand the football off, or you can just call QB1. You can call your own number and make things happen yourself.
Yeah, of course, having a group of guys around me makes everything a lot easier. I ran the ball a lot last year. Having my running backs, Tristan Dakin, Hector Cineros, Rob, having them back there with me, knowing that I don't need to run the ball for my team to succeed, knowing I can depend on their run game, on their legs. And even with my receivers, Caden, Nathan, Avery, Bryce, like David, all of them, just knowing that I throw them the ball, they'll make a play no matter what, and just knowing that I can depend on them to score that touchdown when we need it, when the game's close.
Ronald, this is your 4th season at Kellis under Coach Cullis and all of his staff there. Talk about the importance of having coaches that stay together and really are dedicated to young student athletes and making you the best football players and people off the field that you could possibly be.
It's very important, man. These coaches, they treat us not just like, football players, treat us like we're family, They love us and we love them. Having them around us is, very important. And we really couldn't do it without them. And, as you said, Coach K, he built this team up. And I feel like we wouldn't be in the same place we are right now without Coach K, definitely. And he's a very important piece to this machine.
Coach, I wanted you to focus on your defense for a little bit. They're giving up 10 points a game. They've been playing out of this world, just crazy. Some numbers to throw out: 67.5 TFLs, 17 sacks, 23 interceptions, 35 passes defense, 12 fumble recoveries. My goodness, up front you're strong. In the middle you're strong. In the back end you are pretty much airtight with your secondary, with your coverage on the back end. Talk about this defense and how they've come pretty much every single game, and they've come out and they've done work on that side of the football.
Yeah, it's been a strength all year long, and really it's a matter of playing complementary football. We talk to our kids all the time about how important field position is to defensive stats. Like, a bunch of the stats you just rattled off are in part due to an offense that's putting up points and a special teams unit that's putting them in bad field position spots. So we have some room for error, if we don't have to be perfect all the time, and we can afford to, fix things. So holistically, that's been the reason for the success. But we got some absolute dudes on the defensive side of the ball. We got 2 kids that are actually tied for second in 5A with 5 interceptions, and they play on the same team, so that's not every day you get that. And then both of our corners have 3 picks each. We have, I want to say we've scored 7 defensive touchdowns this year. That's the most I've ever seen as a coach. And it's just been really, really fun because so many different guys, kind of like what Ronald said offensively, it's so many different guys contributing. It's not like you can point and say, it's that one guy making every play. Each week there's been a guy that flashes and just, those 7 touchdowns that we have, I think are all by 7 different defensive players. I mean, so it's been a really fun year to coach. That group of guys, they get after it every week. And our coaches do a really good job preparing a game plan for what we think we're going to see, how we're going to get attacked. And then the biggest thing in this game is just how did we get exposed last week, and what do we need to fix in practice this week? And our coaching staff, I'd put them up against anyone else in the state. They do a phenomenal job of that.
And Coach, you're talking about I'm sorry, JP.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Coach, you're talking about Jason Estrada and Avery Rodriguez, those 2 young men with 5 interceptions apiece back in your secondary. That's crazy.
Yeah, they'll tell you that they should probably have a few more too.
Coach, you got 9 players on your roster with at least 20 tackles, and then you got Rocky Warner with 12 and a half TFLs. Oh, and Jason Estrada also has 13 tackles in the backfield for a loss. And then you have Rocky Warner, back to that young man, 4 sacks on the season. How intense is the defensive practice there at Kellis, and how much does that attribute to making your offense better?
Yeah, it's a really cool dynamic we have going. I mean, I don't think I've been around very many places that have the competitiveness that we do at practice. Just there has been multiple times where I've had to tell the kids to calm down, and it's late October, it's not like it's fall camp. And so it's been that, it's the old like iron sharpens iron kind of thing. Like, these kids are pushing each other every day in practice, and we're seeing results in all 3 phases of the game.
Coach, that's exactly what you want from a defensive perspective. You want to have those guys where you got to kind of grab the dog collar a little bit and say, hey, hold on there a little bit. You'd rather have it that way than having to nudge those guys and fly around to the football, which obviously they do really well there at Kellis. Go ahead, Ed.
Oh, I'm sorry, JP. I jumped on you again. Ron, I wanted to ask you about Cactus. You're going to hit the road again and go ahead and take these guys on. Another good team, 8-3. They're really good at home. When you look at them defensively, what do you see in them, and what are some things that you're going to have to do on Friday night to go and get another road victory and then move on to the semis?
Cactus is definitely a great team. They put together a great season, great coaches, great players. And, I think it's going to be an amazing game. We just got to all come out there and compete, not take anything for granted. This is our first time in, second round in the playoffs, and it's a blessing, of course. And, Cactus, they're rich in tradition. They've been here a lot, but to us, that doesn't mean much. Maybe most people think we're underdogs because, Kellis never been here, Kellis. But our group of guys, definitely, we're not worrying about social media, none of that. We're just sticking to it and doing what I know we can do.
Ron, what would you say to those Cougar fans over there at Kellis that luckily won't have to travel too far to come over to Cactus for this playoff game? I know you want them to come out fired up and ready to cheer you guys on. What message do you have for the fans on the show that they're going to see on Friday night over there at Cactus High School?
It's going to be amazing. It's definitely going to be a show for the century, I can tell you that. 2 great teams going at it. It's going to be a great game, I can say that.
Ronald, what are some things that you like last week, for instance, when you got down to Ironwood Ridge? What were some things to get you locked in? Is it music? Or are you kind of reading? Are you talking to your brothers? Are you just kind of sitting there quiet in the locker room and just kind of gathering your thoughts? What are some things that you did that game, and what are some things you're probably going to do when you get to Cactus on Friday to get yourself locked in and get yourself laser focused and mentally prepared for the game on Friday?
Well, pregame is different in the Cougars locker room. I can tell you that. It's very fun. We're blasting music, dancing. We play all different types of music. We play from rap to R&B to some church music here and there. You never know what's going on in that locker room. I can tell you that. But, we were just having fun, locked in with the guys, enjoying the time because, it's going to all have to end eventually. And, just all staying locked in. Of course, when it's time for us to run out, Coach K, comes give us our speech, and we pray, and we're just ready from there. Like, we can just flip that switch. I can tell you that.
Well, Ronald, I certainly hope you make the most of whatever might be left of your high school football career, because let me tell you, when you get up in age like Ed and I are, you just wish you could strap that helmet on one more time and you realize how special those things were, and you say, man, I wish I would have just appreciated it so much more when I had it. But good luck to you guys on Friday night. Head coach Ben Kellis joining us here from the Raymond S. Kellis Cougars and quarterback Ronald Cody. Good luck on Friday night. We will see you guys out there at Cactus High School for what should be a great 5A quarterfinal matchup.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Stay with us. More of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan coming up right after the break.
Have you had the craving for the best burrito anywhere? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Burrito Express, your local burrito joint. Come on in.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Burrito Express.
With 7 Valley locations and a new South Chandler location opening soon, your new favorite burrito is just right around the corner. Burrito Express, a proud supporter of Thursday Night Kickoff on CW7 Arizona.
We welcome you back here on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. Great to visit with the Raymond Kellis Cougars out there in the far West Valley. And Ed, what a turnaround for that program over the last 4 to 5 years.
Oh yeah, just an amazing transformation of that football program, right? JP 10 on the season, the number 12 seed, I believe, in the 5A tournament, and they are hitting the road again to take on the Cactus Cobras, which is not going to be an easy task. 8-3 football team, another solid football team, so it'll be another tough road test for the Cougars.
It will be indeed. And speaking of the Cactus Cobras, we're making this a habit here of joining Coach Brian Bellis from Cactus High School. And we've got Juju Stubblefield on with us here tonight as well. Coach, thank you once again for taking the time out. We got to visit with you last week before that first playoff game. Just break that playoff game down for us a little bit and tell us about the excitement around the program for this Friday night's matchup against the Kellis Cougars.
Yeah, I think last week we did a really good job in all 3 phases of the game, offensively, defensively, and special teams. I thought we did a good job of taking away their bread and butter, which was running the ball. We were able to put points on the board offensively, stay in rhythm, and then special teams, we were able to make some things happen. We recovered an onside kick. We stopped a fake punt, and we also took a punt return back for a touchdown. So I thought all 3 phases really came out last Friday night, and it helped secure the victory for us.
Coach, we talked to your counterparts about the start they got against Ironwood Ridge. They started off really fast. You started off really fast against Mountain View. You're up 35-7 at the half. How important was it to get off to a fast start and kind of keep that foot on the gas pedal, so to speak, and just continue to just keep the momentum going the entire 48 minutes of football?
Yeah, I just think when you're playing a team like that's like really heavy running the ball, if you can get a lead on them, they're not quite built to make a comeback like maybe a Kellis would with, the ability to run and throw the ball the way these guys do. So I think starting fast for us was important. And once we got that lead, you knew it was going to be a real difficult task for them to try and make a comeback.
Coach, you brought along one of your stud wide receivers tonight, Juju Stubblefield. We're going to look at some of his film here right quick. He had 834 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns on the season. Talk about his importance in the Cactus Cobras football program.
Yeah, Juju's been just a grind it out. Doesn't say a lot. Lets his play speak for itself. Broke 2 school records in that game against O'Connor that you're seeing right there. Most receptions in a game and most yards in a game. Breaking, one of those records was 25 years old, I believe. So just a really special player that has the ability to do good things when the ball's in his hands, and he can make all the catches. He can beat you over the top. He can beat you underneath, and again, he can. He's just a really solid performer for us, and he's definitely our playmaker.
Juju, JP throughout the numbers you had this season, the relationship you and Antonio, your QB1 have, talk about that and how you work, how you're doing building that throughout the course of the off season as you're getting ready for the regular season and during the regular season. And of course, last week in the victory in the playoff victory, just the ongoing time that you spend together. And I'm sure you're watching film together and you're hanging out outside of the football field. You're building that relationship and that camaraderie between the quarterback and wide receiver. Just talk about that. Speak on that.
Just ever since I came to Cactus, he's been like my quarterback. He's been like my main guy, and, just 7-on-7 grinding, practice every single day. I feel like that was a main part of our success, just doing the things over and over again. And, just from spring ball, from summer ball, just grinding days out, even when we didn't want to, and just doing the things that just made our team better, and, just taking it day by day, just trying to get better.
Juju, how have you been such a complete football player over the past few seasons for Cactus? One of the signs of a really good wide receiver is what does he do when he's not getting the football? Is he downfield blocking? You guys are always doing that really well over there at Cactus. How important is that to you to be a complete football player?
It's very important, especially for us. Our motto is we over me, just making the play, when it's not coming to us, whether that's a block or making a big hit to help our, team. I feel like that's very important for us. That's just what builds our success, and that's just what makes us special, Yeah.
Juju, the fact that you guys run the ball really well, about 164 yards a game, 23 touchdowns on the season, you can establish that running game do for you as a wide receiver, knowing defenses have to account for your running game. They have to play you honest because they know that your running game is that good. Does it open things up more for you as a wideout?
Yeah, it definitely does. Tay Player, Tevin Marufo, dogs, with them, and schools are starting to see them more, and making game plans around them. So it definitely opens things up. Like when a team does man on man, I get excited for things like that. Like, yeah, for sure.
Juju, how does it feel to have really good defensive players on the other side of the football when you guys are standing on the sideline? You got guys like Jason Burkhardt with 81 total tackles on the season, 4 of those tackles for a loss behind the line of scrimmage. And how is it having that confidence knowing that, hey, you know what, we're not able to contribute to the game right now, but we know our defense will take care of business when necessary?
Yeah, and it doesn't only bring the offense confidence, it just brings the whole team confidence, just with them, especially the tackle for losses. It just brings a whole hype for the sideline, the whole sideline jumping up and down. It just brings the juice for us, and I just feel like it makes offense play better. It makes special teams play better. It just makes the whole game go by better.
Coach, for you, when your defense come up and they show improve pretty much every single week, what does that do for you? Does that kind of reinforce things like, okay, that part of the football field, we know the offense is good, we know the special team is good, but when that defense steps up like Juju and JP talked about, man, this can be something special for the Cobras.
Yeah, it's been a process for us defensively this year. We've been real inconsistent at times, and then other times we've been really, really good. But I think we're hitting that part of the season where we want to peak. And I think we've put together, some games here at the end of the season where we can really see potentially how consistent and good we can be. And I think it's been a season of us, trying different guys out at different spots. And we're to a point now in the season where, it's in the playoffs, you have to play defense. If you don't play defense, at some point you're going to run across a team that does, and, you're going to have to grind things out, and you're going to have to get stops and make plays. And, I think last week was a good example of us being able to kind of take away what they want to do. But it's a week by week thing. It's not something where you can get complacent. We work really hard, on that side of the ball. We've been together for a long time, our coaching staff, and, we know what we want to do. And we're going to try and put our players in the best position to be successful each and every Friday.
Coach, you got a young man named Aaron Prince who's been extremely important to your Cactus Cobras football team this season. He's got 22 touchbacks on kickoffs, and he has a great punting average as well, averaging 34 yards per punt. How important is that to have someone that you can rely on to put your defense in a good spot to start off other teams' offensive possessions?
Yeah, Aaron's a junior, and he's a 3-year starter for us. So he actually started for us as a true freshman. He's a soccer kid. And his freshman season, he might have had 2 touchbacks. But as he's gotten older, gotten more mature, his legs gotten a little bit stronger. He can, when he's on, he can put those in the end zone and give us. It's a lot easier to defend an 80-yard field than it is a 60-yard field. And so that just helps. That helps out the defense. And if we can get a stop, then it helps out the offense because we're going to get better field position from that. And the punting game, he's got a good leg. He's averaged, like you said, he's averaging, a really good amount right now, and he's putting our defense in a good position every time he has to step up to kick the ball.
Speaking of defense, Juju, you're going to face one of the best defenses in the state. They're giving up over points a game. They are very stingy. They don't want to give up any points, just like any defense. No defense wants to give up points if they don't have to. But when you watch Kellis on defense and you're game planning for them, you watch film and tape them, you're breaking it down from the Ironwood Ridge game, I'm sure, from last Friday. What do you see from them, and what kind of challenges do they pose for you?
I feel like the biggest challenge they impose is probably like their linebacker core. They have a couple guys who are good at linebacker, who are aggressive, who are big, who like to play. I feel like their cornerbacks are pretty good. I feel like their safeties, have the size, and the talent to do good things. But it's going to be a good game for sure because our offense is prepared. We have a bunch of skills ourselves. So I feel like it's going to be a good challenge for the both of us,
Coach, there's no doubt you guys have a ton of skill players over there at Cactus High School, but we all know this game of football starts up front in the trenches. Talk about your offensive and defensive line here in the last couple of minutes we got with you and how they could be the difference makers on Friday night.
Yeah, the skill guys get all the credit, but, at the end of the day, it's football, and football starts up front on both sides of the ball. If you can do a good job up front offensively of moving the line of scrimmage, then, your chances of being successful, go up tremendously. And, on the other side of the ball, if you can get stops up front because you're the more physical team, I think your chances go up, are greatly increased to win the game. And there's going to be a lot of skill Friday night on both sides. We have our skill guys. Kellis has theirs, and it's going to be a great matchup, but at the end of the day, it's still about the big nasties up front and who's going to win those battles in the trenches.
Juju, I asked Ron Cody this, so I'll ask you this as well. Your preparation for a game this big, when you move on, lose, you go home. What are some things that you did last week and what you're going to prepare for this week to get yourself locked in once you get on the field and you get yourself prepared and you get yourself, I guess, kind of clear your head and get yourself ready for another big football game? What do you do to get yourself prepared for another highlight performance, which I'm sure you're looking for on Friday?
Yeah. I just stay locked in throughout the day, just take everything day by day. I don't ever think of like the next day or the day after that. I just take everything day by day. I feel like that helps a lot. Just, studying plays on huddle every day. I feel like that just helps anybody. It just helps you know what you're going to do before you do it. So when you do it, it's easy. And then just going hard in practice every day, taking every rep 100%, because in game it's going to be that way. If you take it slow, it's going to be slow in game. So, yeah.
All-star wide receiver Juju Stubblefield and head coach Brian Bellis joining us here from the Cactus Cobras. They will host the Raymond Kellis Cougars on Friday night. We'll have that game for you live on the NFHS Network. We'll be on the air at 6:30 p.m. and kickoff is set for 7. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on Friday night, and it should be a battle royale out there at your house, and we can't wait to get out there on Friday.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you once again for joining us. We'll be back with more of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. After this, we'll preview a 6A matchup between the Pinnacle Pioneers and the Queen Creek Bulldogs. Stay with us.
Have you had the craving for the best burrito anywhere? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Burrito Express, your local burrito joint. Come on in.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Burrito Express.
With 7 Valley locations and a new South Chandler location opening soon, your new favorite burrito is just right around the corner. Burrito Express, a proud supporter of Thursday Night Kickoff on CW7 Arizona.
welcome you back here on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. James Poovey coming to you live alongside my broadcast partner, Mr. Ed Cole. Ed, up next, a big-time 6A matchup between the Pinnacle Pioneers and the Queen Creek Bulldogs, and this is going to be yet another exciting 2024 Arizona High School football playoff game.
Oh yeah, Queen Creek coming in 9-2, Pinnacle 8-3. So these guys have worked their tails off to get where they are in the quarterfinal. And as I mentioned, this is going to be another fantastic matchup. I can't wait to talk about this one too.
No doubt about it. We're pleased now to be joined by the quarterback for the Pinnacle Pioneers, Mr. Wyatt Horton. Wyatt, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to visit with you, young man. I thoroughly enjoy getting to know you every time we get to talk. You guys just keep this train rolling, 8-3 so far on the season, and you got a big playoff game coming up on Friday night at Queen Creek. Just talk to us about this week's preparation and the mindset out there for the Pinnacle Pioneers right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a big week for the program. Before I even get into it, I just want to, thank you for having me. It's always great, talking with you, catching up. But yeah, Queen Creek got a great opponent we're going up against this Friday. But we believe we're the best team in 6A. So, as long as we do what we do and we continue to do the things we believe in, that we should get the outcome we want.
Wyatt, big start against Mountain Point last week. We talked to all the teams we've talked to today. They've got off to really good starts in the first half. You were up 40-7 over Mountain Point over the Pride, and you just never look back. Just reflect back on that game and such a dominating and I guess just it was a victory for sure. It was a definitive victory, winning by 39.
Yeah, I mean, playoff football is a whole nother level of football. There's a lot of good teams in Arizona, Mountain Point being one of them. And, but we know playoffs is a whole nother, whole nother ball game. And, and guys know, it could be their last. So last Friday, to be honest, we just had, 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense, special teams that all gave it their all every play and played 4 complete quarters. And it showed with the scoreboard.
Talk about the mindset, Wyatt, going into this Friday night's game out there in Queen Creek and taking this Pioneers show on the road. Obviously, at home, you get the support of the home fans, but maybe sometimes it's a benefit to take the show on the road because you have a little bit less distractions. You get on that bus. You got about, I'd say, about an hour ride out there to Queen Creek High School. You can kind of focus and dial things in mentally and get yourself prepared for what should be a great football game.
Like you just said, long bus ride. It's going to be that it doesn't change for us, whether we play at home or play away. We've actually been playing what I think pretty well on the road. I've been playing really good football these past 6-7 weeks, to be honest. And, the goal and the vision doesn't change whether it's home or away. So, they might have some more fans and, which I wouldn't doubt the Pinnacle student section, making that trip. But like I said, what we're set out to do isn't going to change, and we're going to continue to have a great week of practice like we have, and give it our all Friday.
Wyatt, a little over 3,000 all-purpose yards for you, 39 touchdowns, 32 in the air, 7 passing, just 4 interceptions. Are you pleased with your performance so far this year? I mean, those numbers would really lend to you being happy with the way you performed, and you got your guys into the quarterfinals of your section of your conference. Are you pleased with how you've performed so far this year and how you've led your team to where you are right now?
Absolutely. I think, me coming out on Friday night and putting up numbers, just shows how the team's doing. Because if I'm throwing, 300, 400, 500 yards, then that clearly points to an offensive line that's working their butt off, receivers that are catching those yards, and a defense that's getting me the ball back to do that. So, I've been pleased with the numbers I've been putting up, but to be honest, just playing football and playing with my guys is the main point of it all. And when I check the stats at the end of the day and look at it, it is definitely relieving, and nice seeing that all the hard work has paid off. And It's cool to see now. I think the only stat I believe in is winning. And I strongly believe that. And all our guys know that. All the kids on the team are the same way. Because to be honest, who cares? If you throw 10,000 yards in a single season, like if you don't win, then it's all for naught. So that's kind of where my head's at with everything. But I do think I've been doing a great job this year and have had a great year. Not turning the ball over. Making plays when we need to and winning close games.
Wyatt, how much pride do you take in being a true dual threat quarterback? You got 492 yards rushing as well this season, along with 7 rushing touchdowns. How much does that give you pride in knowing that that's going to increase your chances of maybe having a little bit more options when it comes to playing football at the collegiate level? Because let me tell you what, not only from a football perspective, but from a leadership perspective, wherever you decide to go play football, that team just won the lottery.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And, that Idaho State's the destination. And so, they have a great program over there, and I'm excited to get there. But yeah, running, it just adds a whole nother, ball game to defensive coaches when they have to, strategize and film against us. Cause if you're going to bring the house and blitz, I'm going to have to, make you pay with my legs. And to be honest, it's like, it's hard for DBs to cover receivers for a long time. So, being able to move and make plays, makes it really tough for defenses.
Speaking of defense, I want you to give your defensive love. JP, these numbers are incredible. They've got 4 players that's got double-digit TFLs. They've got 112 and a half TFLs. Let me scroll down Max Preps again. 34 and a half sacks, 114 QB hurries, and on the back end, just as solid, 11 interceptions. Hey, when you're standing on the sidelines, do you marvel at what your guys do to get you back on the field with their incredible play and how stingy they are on defense?
Yeah, our defense has been doing an incredible job this year. And to be honest, my older brother played. He graduated 2020, but played for Pinnacle, and they didn't have the best defense. It was kind of a shootout every game, them putting up 50, the other team putting up, 40. And it's kind of been different this year, just having a defense that, has my back. And I know, I can go score. They'll get a side, we'll score. That's what creates momentum and builds momentum. And, especially like you said, 11 interceptions, I believe. And, 4 or 5 of those being pick sixes. It's like, when I get to, we always joke around about it. It's like, I just want to be out on the field, and then they just get a pick six. They go right back out there. It's like, it's not ideal, but points, especially, playoff football, we'll take anything to win the game. So, but no, I just want to, Dean Vincent's been playing amazing. Owen Pimpert, transferred from Saguaro, has been balling. Braden Frick and Don Polito each had a pick last week, and I could go on and on. Like, our guys have been stepping up and playing big time football.
Talk about your support system at home, Wyatt. We know it takes a lot to be a high school athlete, high school student athlete, but more importantly, to be a really good one. And you got to have that support system around you at home. Who gets it done at the house for you, and who's been in your corner this entire time?
Definitely my parents. Mom and dad have played such a big role in my life. Whether that's being the examples and kind of showing me the way, or, being there when I need them to. It's fun. It's fun going home after games, win or loss, and just seeing them there. They love me the same amount if we win by 60, lose by 50 or whatever it is. And so, that's always so big for me to know that they'll have my back for as long as I'm here, and they're here. And, I'm very appreciative and big on family, especially my 2 older brothers, because family's everything to me.
Wyatt, we know the quarterback position is the most heavily scrutinized position in all of sports. Everybody looks at the quarterback position, and teams go, they have success by their quarterbacks and they have failures because of their quarterbacks. For you, how fun is it to be QB1? Are you having a lot of fun doing this? I know it's a lot of pressure. You know, everybody looks at White Horton. Oh, he's the quarterback of Pinnacle. Let's look at his numbers. Let's kind of pick apart his game. You know, let's see how he's going to do on Friday night. Do you lend stock into all of that, or you just go out there and do what you do and have fun toting the rock and running the rock?
I mean, to be honest, I think all of that, you know, those thoughts and those, you know, nerves or whatever kind of just get swept away every Friday night when I see my best friends by my side. And that's what high school football is. That's why it's so special, is because, you know, we're not on contracts. We're not making money doing this. It's a bunch of high school kids that, you know, get together to make memories and win championships. And, you know, that's what makes it so special, is knowing that, you know, every Friday night I suit up, I got my friends and my brothers beside me. And, you know, at that point, you know, once the game starts, it's just have fun. You know, knowing we put in a big week, you know, of practicing and it's already been written. So, you know, that's a good question, but to be honest, I try to not overthink it. You know, it's football, whether it's flag football, you know, playing college or NFL football. It's at the end of the day, it's football. It's a game. It's fun. And, you know, that's kind of where I try to keep my head at with it.
You know, Wyatt, with you leading the charge over there at Pinnacle, you have a very senior-laden team. Do you guys feel like, talking about that championship, I mean, just a couple of games away now, if you look at it realistically, do you guys feel like, hey, it's time that we go get this thing? We got the pieces in place. We got the team. We got the coaching staff. We're on a roll. Like you said, you're playing your best football toward the end of the season, which is exactly what you want to do. Do you guys feel like it's there for the taking?
Absolutely. I think we've all, the entire team's believed that since January. You know, like we started putting the work in this offseason, and, you know, it was to have one thing in mind, and that's to bring Pinnacle its first ever state championship. And to be honest, we were shooting for the Open. We believe that we could compete with any team in the state. And we kind of showed that, you know, in that Liberty game. But, you know, we lost 3 games, and, you know, that bumped us out of it. But, you know, it's still, history's in front of us. You know, Pinnacle's never won a 6A state championship. And that's no easy task. You know, there's a ton of great teams in that 6A division. Arguably, you know, better teams in the 6A than the Open this year. But, you know, the championship is what, you know, we had a player meeting the other day, and one of our players talked about, you know, we put so much work in, you know, January to November, you know, just to play in December ball. And, you know, I've been blessed to play December football, and play a championship game December 10th. And, you know, there's nothing like it, knowing there's only 2 to 4 other teams practicing, and playing on Thanksgiving and doing, you know, all the special things that comes with that. It's, you know, it's worth all the work, and it's worth, you know, it's worth, you know, the extra doing extra and showing up, and, you know, just having a great attitude about everything. It's worth it all. So.
Why you have played a crazy. I'm sorry, AP.
Go ahead.
I jumped on you again. Yeah, one more for Wyatt. So I wanted to ask him about the Queen Creek game. You played an absolutely crazy schedule, just up and down the schedule. But now you're going to face a Queen Creek team that's not lost at home. They've made a complete turnaround from last year, going from 3-8 to 9-2. They've got momentum just like you do. They feel good about themselves. They think that they can knock you off. What are you going to have to do to go to Queen Creek and make them 6-1 at home and send them home on Friday?
I mean, it's not so much about them, to be honest. That's kind of where our head's at with everything, you know, because what we believe in, what we do, what this program is all about is taking care of us and each other. And, you know, Friday night, we know if offense, defense, special teams shows up and we play a complete game, and we play, you know, the game that we know we can play and we have played, then any team in this bracket, you know, won't beat us. And, you know, they credit to them. They've got, you know, great players over there, great coaching, you know, respect their head coach over there. But, you know, I'm a competitor, and our whole team's a competitor. And, you know, we set out to, you know, have a goal, and anyone in the way is just in the way for us.
No doubt, one of the best quarterbacks in Arizona high school football, and there's been a couple of great quarterbacks there at Pinnacle High School, including J.D. Johnson and Spencer Rattler in previous years, but Wyatt Horton has those guys on the cusp of their first ever 6A state title. Wyatt, always a pleasure to visit with you, my friend. We look forward to checking in on you on Friday night, and we wish you nothing but good luck out there in Queen Creek as you battle those Bulldogs.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Stay with us. More of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan coming up. Next, we visit with those Queen Creek Bulldogs right after the break.
Have you had the craving for the best burrito anywhere? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Burrito Express, your local burrito joint. Come on in.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Burrito Express.
With 7 Valley locations and a new South Chandler location opening soon, your new favorite burrito is just right around the corner. Burrito Express, a proud supporter of Thursday Night Kickoff on CW7 Arizona.
We welcome you back here on the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. Great, as always, to visit with Wyatt Horton, Pinnacle Pioneers quarterback. They're going to face off this Friday night in a big-time playoff game as they will battle the Queen Creek Bulldogs. Ed, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a great one. I cannot wait for us to move to the quarterfinals of high school football playoff action. Last week was great. This week's going to be even better.
Let's not waste any time. Let's get the head coach, Mr. Travis Schuerman, and the quarterback, Tate Reynolds, in here from the Queen Creek Bulldogs. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you joining us. Coach, we'll start with you. Why don't you give us a brief synopsis of the season so far? You guys 9-2 so far going into this week's playoff matchup against the Pinnacle Pioneers.
Yeah, we've been blessed just to compete in all our games and to play some great competition, and we play in that brutal East Valley region. So we're blessed to be in this situation and have the opportunity to play a meaningful game this time of year.
Coach, how is that 6A, that region that you're playing in? How has that got you battle tested for this playoff run, this gauntlet of a playoff run you're trying to do to win a state championship, going through the trials and the tribulations and the joys and the pains of being in the region that you're in has gotten you where you are today, primarily outside of the rest of the games that you play on your schedule?
Yeah, I mean, our back half of our schedule we felt like was probably one of the toughest in 6A, if not in football. We went Williamsfield, Centennial, Red Mountain, Highland, and ALA to end our season, and so we just kind of, it was a good opportunity for us to see where we're at, and we kind of talked about as a team, and we'll know exactly where we belong and who we are when we get into the playoffs. And so we feel like we've been tested. We've had our opportunities. Some didn't go the way we wanted, but we battled and we played, and we're able to kind of stay to the course through all those games.
Coach, you brought along one of your stud players on the Queen Creek Bulldogs football team, quarterback Tate Reynolds, who's also your leading rusher, averaging almost 113 yards a game. How special is it to have a young man like this who is an ultimate dual-threat quarterback as we take a look at some of his film here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tate is a phenomenal football player, and the things he does on the football field are pretty special. But the things he does off the field are even more special. He's a guy who cares about his team. Tate would be happy if someone else had the 113 yards per game, and he just was able to facilitate that. And so I think that that speaks volumes to who he is, and he's our hardest worker. When your best player is your hardest worker, great things will happen. And so we're just blessed we got a kid like him who's leading our team and wants what's nothing but best for the team, and doesn't really care about himself at all.
Your work ethic that coach just mentioned, how have you seen that rub off on your teammates, on your brothers, as you are in the second round of the playoffs? Have you seen your brothers grow as a result of the leadership that you display?
Yeah, I do. I just think we have a lot of leaders on the team, and I'm just grateful to be one of them. And I just try to be an example to them every day, and I just put in the work, and they follow. So.
Tate, tell us about some of the unsung heroes a lot of times on a football team, and that would be your offensive linemen. How do those guys help you stay clean most games and allow you to make some of those dynamic plays that you do make on the field?
They're studs for sure. Coach Sherman takes care of them, and he gets after them, and I love those guys. So they keep me loose. They always keep me smiling for sure. And it's a lot of fun to play with them.
Take the ability for you to run the football and be the dual threat quarterback we just mentioned. How important is that to your offense for you to not be one dimensional, instead multi-dimensional, and defenses have to account for your passing skills as well as your running skills, as we see you break off a nice little run right there? Talk about that, I guess the unpredictability that you have at that QB1 spot.
Yeah, like you said, it's unpredictable. I think it adds another threat to the offense. I think it, like any offense in the country, so if that quarterback can run, I think it helps. And it all starts in the weight room, so it's we work on it a lot, and I'm thankful for the ability to have. So.
Coach, tell us about the other side of the football for the Queen Creek Bulldogs, your defense and how they've risen to the occasion this season. You don't get to 9-2 with only a good offense. You got to have some defenses, the defense making some stops when necessary.
Yeah, the defense, I think, has put our offense in a really good position all year. They are, for the early part of the year, we kind of struggled a little bit early on offensively, and they really kept us in games early until we could figure some things out. And so they really just play well as a unit. They love playing with each other, and the leadership that we have throughout that defense is pretty special. It's a bunch of guys, and I think this is for our whole team. We have a bunch of guys who just love being with each other and love playing with each other. And so when that happens, when you're playing for each other and not for yourself, it's pretty cool what happens.
Coach, the big 14-point win last week over O'Connor, did your men have a different kind of focus or a mindset or approach to the first round of the playoffs, knowing you were taking on the Eagles last Friday night?
Yeah, first of all, a lot of credit to O'Connor and what they did. They came out and showed some different things that we hadn't seen, and they played extremely hard. I was proud of our way that we were resilient in the way that we kind of bounced back. We didn't start all that well, but we found a way kind of in the middle of the second quarter through late in the third quarter, really kind of to play Queen Creek football. And so we're just looking to build upon that momentum. But they gave us all we could handle, and it was a great football game.
Coach, what does it mean being that Queen Creek is sort of a tight-knit community out there, and a lot of these guys you have playing on your team have been together, they've grown up around each other for a number of years, played youth football together, and now that translates really well into the high school ranks?
Yeah, we have 37 seniors, which is, pretty awesome. But I think one of the things that's pretty unique in this world that we live in, in Arizona in particular, is I think of those 37 seniors, probably 35 of them have been here since day one, right? They've been in our program since freshmen. And so we're winning with the kids that have been in our program and that have decided to stay and wanted to be Queen Creek Bulldogs. And so it's something special to them. And they have taken that mentality and they've put it down to the younger kids. And so our juniors and our sophomores that are playing for us are understanding now what it means to do things as the Queen Creek way. And so it's been neat to see their leadership, and just to see, I think when you've been together for so long, you create a bond of love and trust that is hard to break. And I think these guys, they love each other and they trust each other, and they're willing to go to deep, dark places together. And that's one of the things that's been very inspirational for me as the head coach, to see their love for each other and their care for each other. We have a lot of great players on our team, but no one really cares who gets the shiny sticker or the interview at the end of the game. They just love playing with each other.
Tate, as talented as you are, that young man that's also QB1 for Pinnacle, he's pretty good too. Wyatt Horton is really good as well. He's putting up some big numbers just like you have. When you watch tape on Wyatt, what do you see from him as there's going to be two really good quarterbacks that are going to face off in your building on Friday night, you and Wyatt?
I'm excited to play against him. I don't really watch tape on him because I watch the defense, but
okay.
It's just yeah, I'm excited to play against him. He's really good, and I'm just ready to get after it this week. Yeah,
I can answer that question. I know it wasn't for me, but Wyatt's a special young man. Like the way he plays, the way he holds himself, the way he gets his team to play. is really awesome to see, and that's something I admire as a head coach. When you watch film on opponents, to see the way he gets his teammates to play, and the way that they rally around him, is a unique ability that not many people have. Sometimes you have guys who are superstars and great, but they're me kind of guys, and he is definitely not a me kind of guy. And they are where they're at because of Wyatt Horton, and he's a special young man.
Coach, no doubt number 15 is a special player for the Pinnacle Pioneers. Two really good quarterbacks in Tate Reynolds and Wyatt going at it this Friday night. What is it going to take? What's going to be the tipping point in this football game? We know that these playoff games oftentimes come down to a couple possessions here or there, a couple plays here or there. What's it going to take to get over the hump and move on to the next round of the playoffs for the Queen Creek Bulldogs?
I mean, I think you got to play sound football in all three phases. I think that whoever can be the soundest in all three phases is going to win on Friday night. So on offense, we got to control the ball and not turnovers, and then defense, we got to try to get turnovers and get some stops, right? And then special teams, you have to be sound in all those special teams. And so I think it's just going to come down to the basics of football, right? Who can catch, who can run, and who can tackle, and who can kick all well, right? And so it's going to be a great high school atmosphere, and it's going to be a great high school game. I think what Pinnacle does in their coaching staff, they're top notch. They have their kids ready to play. They're so well prepared. And I like to feel that we're the same kind of staff, right? We're going to have our kids ready, prepared, and ready to go. But I think it's one of those games where when you look at it, you're just grateful you get to play in these kind of games, right? That you get to coach in these kind of games and these players get to play, because it's not that often, that there's a lot of teams at home that would like to be playing right now, and they're not getting that opportunity. So we're grateful for the opportunity to get to play this game and to go represent the town of Queen Creek and Queen Creek High School.
And for you, how excited are you to play back at home again? You're 6-0 at home, undefeated. You've got some really good home cooking there. You guys really cook when you're at home. So good to have Pinnacle coming in as opposed to going to their place on Friday night.
That's you. Yeah, it's you.
Kind of cut out.
Oh, yeah. Cut out a little bit. So
that was you. That was you, Tate. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll say it one more time.
One more time. Sorry. I cut off. I blocked the mic for a second on you. Sorry.
Okay, Tate, I was asking about playing at home. 6-0 at home. You guys have played really well all season long there, held court at home, as opposed to going to Pinnacle and having Pinnacle at home. Of course, it's great to have the Pioneers come in, and just the excitement of having your home crowd that's going to be backing you and yelling their hearts out for you on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, our fans are awesome. I have a lot of buddies running the student section and everything, and they're awesome, and it's a lot of fun to play behind them and play for them.
Quarterback Tate Reynolds and head coach Travis Sherman joining us here from the Queen Creek Bulldogs. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. We know you're getting ready to head out to the practice field right now, so we appreciate you joining us here. Good luck on Friday night. We'll definitely be keeping tabs on that game as we broadcast the game from Cactus High School this Friday night on the Epic Sports Network. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you guys so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Stay with us. We'll wrap up this edition of the Desert Gridiron Game Plan when we return from the break.
Have you had the craving for the best burrito anywhere? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Burrito Express, your local burrito joint. Come on in.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Burrito Express.
With 7 Valley locations and a new South Chandler location opening soon, your new favorite burrito is just right around the corner. Burrito Express, a proud supporter of Thursday Night Kickoff on CW7 Arizona.
We welcome you back to the Desert Gridiron Game Plan. No doubt an epic matchup coming up this Friday night between the Pinnacle Pioneers and the Queen Creek Bulldogs. Special thanks again to our guest, Wyatt Horton, quarterback for Pinnacle, and then Tate Reynolds and Coach Travis Sherman from the Queen Creek Bulldogs. Ed, that is going to be a throwdown out there at Queen Creek High School.
Oh, yeah. If you just throw these two quarterbacks, Tate Reynolds and Wyatt Horton, those guys, two QB1s, they've led their team to success all season long. So I would expect both of those young men are going to have great games on Friday night. Unfortunately, one team's going to lose. One team's going to go home. That's the unfortunate thing about playoffs. And you on, it's win or lose. It's win and move on. You lose and you go home. That's the realities of playoff football, right, JP?
That's how it goes. Exactly right. We're going to have a great game on the Epic Sports Network on Friday night as the Kellis Cougars head over to battle the Cactus Cobras. Let's take a look at that 5A state championship bracket right now. And, Ed, as we always say, the reward for passing a test is another big test. And that's exactly what is on tap for the winner of this ball game between Raymond S. Kellis and Cactus. They're going to play the winner of Campo Verde and ALA Gilbert North. Both those teams playing really well this season also.
Yeah, Campo Verde got a narrow 3-point victory over McClintock. We saw McClintock earlier in the season. That's a really good football team. So they knocked them off by 3. And then ALA Gilbert North, they doubled up Barry Goldwater plus. So they got a really good victory. So both of these two teams scored 40-plus points. So whoever comes out of that game, whoever comes out of the game against Kellis and Cactus, they're going to have a really tough test going up against two offenses that are really prolific when it comes to the playoff season, right, JP? So they just roll into the playoffs and they immediately start scoring more points.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. It's time to turn it up. I mean, like it or not, you've got to really ratchet things up when it comes to playoff season, and it's no different in the 6A. We talked about that big-time matchup out there between the Pinnacle Pioneers and the Queen Creek Bulldogs, and the winner of that game is going to get – pull it up here in just a second.
The winner – yeah, the winner of Centennial and Castile, as you pull that up.
The winner of Centennial and Castile, and we talked about Castile, an upset out there last week at Highland High School, and then the Centennial
two upsets,
Coyotes,
JP.
Yeah, the Centennial Coyotes, no one even expected them to even sniff the playoffs, and as you know, as usual, Coach Richard Taylor able to turn that program around, and we've talked about it all season long. All you got to do is get yourself into the dance, and then you might get the dance with anyone you like.
It is amazing, JP. They went 3-7 this season, and they went over to Mesa and knocked off the number 3 seeded Red Mountain. The Red Mountain, they outscored them by 14. They only gave up 7 points in their building. So that's a testament to, as you mentioned, to Coach Taylor and the game plan they had to go across town to go over to the east side and knock off Red Mountain. And the reward for that, of course, they're going to take on Castile. As you mentioned, they got a 2-point victory over Highland. So that's going to be an outstanding game on Friday night. You and I will be watching that game close. And, of course, we'll do some live look-ins during the game, during our broadcast from the 6A and 5A. There's a ton of football. We're going to do some live look-ins, right, James?
Yeah, we're going to have live look-ins for you all night long. We'll obviously be checking on that Pinnacle and Queen Creek game. We'll take a look at that Centennial Castillo game. Another good one, South Point Catholic squaring off against the Mountain View Toros. Coach Linton doing a great job over there in his first season after coming over from Horizon High School. So it's that time of the year, Ed. It is super exciting. The state championships are just a couple short weeks away, and let's face it, it's put up or shut up time right now. And that's the one thing I really love about football as opposed to some other sports. Obviously in the pro ranks it's a little bit different, but you don't get the 5-game series or the 7-game series. You get one chance to prove your worth, or else you get to stay home.
You're right. You get one shot. And if your shot is not good enough, you're going home and your season's over. It doesn't matter what your record. It doesn't matter if you're Kellis and you're 10-1. If you have a bad night against Cactus on Friday night, you're going home. Your season's over and Cactus moves on. That is the fine thing about playoff football. If you come with a good performance, you got a good shot of winning. If you come out and you put up a stinker, then, well, your season's over. You have no shot at the championship.
That's right. It's all how you put up that night and play your style of football. So we're excited to be on the air on the NFHS Network. Just search Epic Sports Network on the NFHS Network, and you'll find our broadcast of the Raymond S. Kellis Cougars squaring off against the Cactus Cobras. It's a 5A quarterfinal. We'll be on the air at 6:30 p.m., and kickoff is set for 7. From my broadcast partner, Mr. Ed Cole, I'm James Poovey saying have a great night, and we will see you all at Cactus High School on Friday night, once again on the air at 6:30 p.m. on the NFHS Network. Have a great week, folks.
Good night, folks.